Hi there. My name is Hunter Mermontis, for those of you who don't know me, assuming that this video is going to get out to a bunch of people that don't know me. I was asked to make this video by a couple different people explaining my philosophy. The first time I was asked to share my philosophy or to create a philosophy that was my own was in my senior year English class, and my teacher made a project that was our final project of the semester for us to make a senior philosophy project, a senior philosophy. So what you had learned in the last 18 years of life. And I sat there and I was like, okay, done, got it. I thought I was going to do my project on bullying. I thought that it was going to be about how bullying had made me so much stronger and cyberbullying and this and that, but that's definitely not the point of this video, because that turned out that that wasn't my philosophy at all, and I didn't know it yet. So the type of student I am is I will work on something and work on something and work on something just a little bit at a time until, like, I'll set the due date, like whenever the due date is, and then I'll work on it little by little so I don't have a lot to do at the end, for the most part, for almost everything. And this project was one of them. I worked really, really hard on this project, and it was about bullying, and I was really proud of it. I worked on it for like a half an hour every day for about 3 weeks, right? So it was a substantial amount of time that I had put into this project. Now, when it came time for me to present this project, it was due on a Wednesday. And that Monday, the Monday before the project was due, mind you, I'd had it all, like the essay written, everything was cool, like everything was good. I was ready to present it. That Monday, the Monday before it was due, before I was supposed to stand up in front of my senior class and present this project, my mom sits me down and she lets me know that a really close friend of ours, Rick, passed away. Now, Rick, this is how I describe him. He's a big, like, 6'4" dude, braided beard with, like, beads in it and all that kind of stuff, black nail polish, coveralls, or overalls with only one hooked, Converse or barefoot, whatever, who he didn't care, Harley riding, crazy dude, right? He had competed in, like, semi-pro fighting at a certain point, and we went to his house for a UFC fight because I love UFC. And he told me that I looked like Ronda Rousey, and my face lit up because Ronda Rousey is my favorite athlete of all time. And he was like, "You look like Ronda Rousey," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." And he was like, "Do you hit like her?" And I was like, "No, I don't know." And I quickly found out that I didn't, but he was going to make me hit like that. Like, we drilled, and he was like, "Well, let's go outside and see." And so we drilled and drilled and drilled, and I think we picked up the mitts a couple more times after that. But the effect he had on me was so profound. So I liked boxing, like I liked the sport, I really liked what it was about. But when Rick taught me how to box, it changed my life. It changed my view of everything, but I didn't realize it yet. I had no idea what effect that Rick was going to have on me. And that's where this philosophy comes in. So Rick passed away on his Harley. He was riding a straightaway, and same straightaway he rode every single day, probably going a little faster than the speed limit, but that's okay. And it was a freak accident. He got off the side of the road, and you could see, I went to the site a couple days later, you could see in the dirt how many times he had tried to get back up, but he had those really high handlebars. So his steering was a little less controlled than one might have hoped. And so he hit a utility pole, and he passed away. And I didn't realize until he was gone what a huge effect he had on me. I mean, he was always my buddy. He always believed in me way more than most other people in my life. He always said, most people in his life, that like mutual friends of ours that I met through him, probably didn't know me as Hunter. They probably knew me as the next Ronda Rousey, because that's how much he believed in me. And that meant a lot. He was crazy. Loved him. So anyway, when I got the news that Monday before that project was due, immediately, I went for a drive. I was devastated. But when I was driving, I knew that project was no longer my project. That was not my philosophy anymore. And I had no idea what I was going to do because the project was due in 2 days, and I'd been working on it for 4 weeks. So I went to my AP literature teacher. She's amazing. One of my favorite teachers I've ever had. And I walked up to her and I was like, "Listen, Miss A, I can't present this. Like, I can't get up there and present this project. It's not my philosophy anymore. It just feels foreign now, you know. And I told her what happened. She's usually the one that I would go to talk to about this kind of stuff anyway. And she was like, well, you know what, Hunter, like, I can't push back the due date for you because you're graduating next week. So if you can come up with a new project in the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes, in the next period, then you can do it. Like, that's totally fine. Totally fine with me. So I'm sitting there, and I was like, okay, I have like 30 to 50 minutes, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like 50 minutes. I have like 50 minutes to come up with a whole new project, like write a new essay. And I sat down, and I remember sitting there like, you cannot do this. And I'm usually not like a negative self-talk type of person, but I sat down and I was just like, there is no way that you can, like, you haven't even sorted through your emotions yet. You don't even know how you feel about this. How are you going to write? Like, what are you going to write, you know? And so I prayed about it. I prayed to God, and I prayed to Rick. And I talked to Rick, you know, and I was like, Rick, please give me words. God, please give me words. Just give me something that I can write on this piece of paper. Do it justice. Like, let me do it justice. I don't know what you want me to say. Just give me what you want. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to know? So I sat down, and I was crying my eyes out. I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. It was overwhelmed. I was definitely overwhelmed, but I was also still trying to sort through my feelings about Rick dying. And I had no idea where I was going to go with this, but I just started writing. And usually in high school, they give you like a 45-minute, like when teachers time AP students to get them prepared for the AP test, they usually give you about 45 minutes timed. Well, I wrote this essay in 30 minutes, like max. Why is this light doing this? I wrote this essay in 30 minutes, and I know that, like, I've never written an essay in 30 minutes, especially not one that I've never had to touch again. Never had to edit this essay again. I sat down and I wrote that essay in 30 minutes, and I know that God and Rick gave me words and gave me what they wanted me to know and what they wanted everybody else to know Rick as. They wanted what Rick wanted his legacy to be was on that paper. And that's where this philosophy came in. So I entitled this philosophy, Keep Your Hands Up. Which also is something that I did not come up with by myself. I am 100% convinced that I did not do this by myself. People can say different, but I know that I didn't do this by myself. It was called Keep Your Hands Up because I remember vividly sitting there boxing with Rick, and he'd hit me in the nose all the time when we were sparring, or not sparring, but like back and forth. And he'd hit me in the nose, and he'd be like, keep your hands up. And I'd be like, okay, whatever. And so I always, I learned how to keep my hands up. But it was a really hard thing to do. People struggle with this all the time, keeping their hands up. But it wasn't just in boxing. In this essay, I equated boxing to life, like a boxing match to life. So, like, sometimes you're totally up on your problems, executing every single right hook and jab and everything, and you're just knocking everything out, right? You're excelling, right, in life. And, like, sometimes life is good like that. And then other times you're getting boxed into a corner, and you feel like you're just waiting for the bell to ring. And no one wants to live like that. And with Rick's death, and with Rick, it really taught me that the boxing match of life does not last nearly as long as we want it to. And it's always unexpected. Like, there are always things that happen in the boxing match of life that are unexpected. You get knocked out, but do you get back up, right? Or you get knocked on your butt, do you get back up? It's that kind of thing. I believe that, like a boxing match in life, there are a lot of things that are uncontrollable. There are a lot of things that we can't control, but we can control if we keep our hands up. If we keep our hands up and we keep fighting, or if we allow our opponent, or we allow life to knock us on our butt. That is the one thing that I believe. I think that for me, with Rick, I saw him keeping his hands up as long as he could. He had a lot of stuff stacked against him, but he kept his hands up. And he kept a smile on his face while doing it, and he loved everybody and loved them hard. And that's really all you can do. So I feel like that is where my philosophy came from. I hope I did it justice. But basically, no matter what, keep your hands up and keep fighting. The boxing match of life, like we all know, does not last as long as we want it to. No matter what. If it's us, if it's somebody else, if it's a loved one, it's someone we don't talk to anymore for whatever reason, whatever stupid thing gets in the way, like, get over it. Like, life does not last that long. So every single time I try to hold a grudge against somebody, keep your hands up gets stuck in my head, because it's like, okay, if I never see that person again, if they die on a Harley, is this going to hurt me? Like, am I going to wish that I left things differently? Because that's really what it's all about. Don't leave things on a bad note, because you never know when somebody's last round is, right? I'm a firm believer in keeping your hands up and keeping on fighting, because I've seen how drastically my life has changed with this philosophy. And do I wish that it didn't come at the cost that it did? Of course. I wish that he was still here to watch me play college ball and to, keep sparring with me and doing everything. And I know that this wasn't the only reason, but if this was one of the reasons that this happened, I know that Rick would be happy that he is changing so many lives with this philosophy. To me, this philosophy can be taken in so many different ways, right? In sports, in school, in work, in marital problems, and like, I'm never gonna pretend like I know what having cancer is like, ever in my life, but I've seen my family members fight and continue to fight and to continue to fight, or HIV and AIDS, or whatever it is. Keeping up the fight and keeping your morale up, there's something to be said for energy and what energy does. And I know anybody that met Rick can say that he had an energy that cannot be matched. He'd walk into a room and the room would light up. That's really who Rick was, and I think that everybody should aspire to have a little bit of Rick in them, and just keep their hands up and keep fighting, because life is short. So that's really my message. That's my philosophy. It's really not my message, it's Rick's message, and it's God's message, and whoever else's message, that it's your message now. I hope that this reaches everybody that it's supposed to reach, and I need to thank Danielle for asking me to do this at Rick's Memorial, and I need to thank Miss A for making this a project, or else I probably wouldn't have had the chance or the opportunity to do this. And I need to thank Rosemarie for pushing me to finish it, even though I had a lot on my plate, and reminding me that the most important thing is carrying out this message, for sure. So this has been my priority, and it is my priority now, to make sure that this message gets out to everybody that needs to hear it, because I really hope that this message can help somebody even half as much as it helped me. So I hope I did it justice. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I hope I can compile this in a way where I can finally put it on social media or something so that other people can see it, because this is probably like the 5th time I've recorded this video, and it keeps staying on my laptop. So if you guys didn't like this version, I have 4 others. Well, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Thank you.